What's up guys, I'm Adam and I am a huge fan of the slasher movie genre, especially those that came out of the 1980s. And one of my all-time favorite 80s slashers is The House on Sorority Row from 1982. I just rewatched it again for the first time in a couple of years and boy does it still hold up. So what's this movie about? Well, it follows a group of sorority sisters who plan a revenge prank against their mean old house mother on the night of their graduation party. Unfortunately, the prank goes wrong and the house mother, Mrs. Slater, is accidentally killed. The girls hide her body in the swimming pool, planning to dispose of it after the party, but things take an unexpected turn when someone starts killing them off one by one. Yeah, it's standard slasher movie schlock, but it is incredibly well executed. Now admittedly, this movie does have quite a slow pace in the first act, as there are a lot of things to be set up. However, after the killing of Mrs. Slater, things pick up, and I mean they really pick up. There are so many different things that I love about this movie. To me, the centerpiece of any good story is its characters. And while the acting in this one isn't really the best, what does really work is the believability of the dynamic between the characters. The cast do a really good job of working well together, both at first as friends and later when they start to turn on each other, they play that well too. The fact that they spend the whole movie trying to cover up Mrs. Slater's murder is also a great explanation for why they behave the way they do, and it allows the standard slasher tropes to play out without feeling convoluted. Like usually in these kinds of movies, characters will disappear and you're like, are these characters idiots? Why have they not noticed that their friend has gone missing? Why don't they call the police? But here they're trying to keep a dead body hidden. They don't want to involve the police, and it's not completely out of character at this point for someone to just jump ship and run away. The movie is also really helped by some superb directing, courtesy of Mark Rosman. Or maybe it's Roseman, I don't really know how it's pronounced. Once the action kicks off, he keeps up a good pace. You're never waiting too long between murders, and overall the script has a really good balance between suspense and humour. Some of the jokes in here are pretty stupid, but they had me laughing, I guess because I'm stupid. While other sequences are genuinely chilling, and they really make you feel for the danger that the characters are in. Rosman, or Roseman, acquits himself particularly well during one of the party scenes. It's a long panning shot that pans across the entire room during the party, occasionally pausing to focus on one of the 5 girls, and showing how uncomfortable they look despite the jolly surroundings. It's a really well done scene, and one of my favourite parts of the film. And of course, I can't talk about this movie without mentioning the signature weapon that the killer uses. It's this walking cane that Mrs. Slater owned that has a silver bird on the end of it, and he basically uses it like a spear or a knife, stabbing and then later bludgeoning people to death with it. It's one of the most unique weapons I've seen used in a horror movie. And people always like to talk about if they could have a prop from any movie, which one it would be. But I think if I could choose one prop from any movie to own, I would want the cane from The House on Sorority Row. That thing is badass. I would walk around with that all of the time. To top this movie off, it's got a great ending sequence as well, where our final girl, Catherine, is drugged with a sedative and starts hallucinating. Things get really crazy and really trippy, and it's also a good way to make her that bit more vulnerable when the killer is coming after her in the final act. Overall, The House on Sorority Row is one of the best and most underappreciated slasher movies ever made, in my opinion. And I've seen a lot of these things. It's well written, has good characters, a really cool and interesting killer, some great kill sequences. It's dripping with atmosphere. Phenomenally directed by Mark Rosman or Roseman or whatever the fuck you want to call him. Beautifully scored by Richard Band. The music in this movie is sensational. And despite a slow start, the overall film moves at a pretty good pace. If you haven't seen this film, I highly recommend that you check it out, especially if you're into slasher movies. It is a lot of fun. Check out the score if you're into movie scores. One of the most underappreciated cinema scores in my opinion. I'm telling you, Richard Band, man, he's a real talent. That's all from me for now. I hope you found this review informative, and I hope you check out The House on Sorority Row. It really is one of my favourite slasher films. I will see you next time.
They decided to make real sure that no one would ever forget the girls in The House on Sorority Row.